you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing one of my most popular video topics. It is an extreme budget meal video. I am making very inexpensive meals for my family. Some of these cost me just a few dollars worth of ingredients to feed my entire family, so stay tuned. If you like this kind of content, make sure that you're subscribed, and if you could hit that little thumbs up button, it helps me appease the algorithm. I make these kinds of videos all the time with all different kinds of parameters, shopping at all different kinds of stores, using different kinds of ingredients. So hopefully there's something here that you like, but if there isn't, or if you're just looking for more, make sure that you check out the playlist in the description box because I have done dozens and dozens of these over the last couple of years. These are pretty popular videos. It's January right now when I'm filming this, and I know a lot of people have set some budget goals as well as just, some health goals and personal goals for their 2022. So hopefully these are going to be helpful or useful for you. For this video, I took a look around my kitchen at some things that I already had on hand. I know the prices of common ingredients in my kitchen because I'm buying them all the time. So I did a cost breakdown of about what it costs for each of these meals, and I will share that with you as well as the recipes. I know that prices are regional and, sometimes stuff costs a different amount at different stores depending on where you're shopping, depending on where you live, depending on the season, depending on what's on sale at your grocery store. So just take this with a grain of salt. My cat is playing with things that are on the refrigerator. She's like trying to bat them down and she's making all kinds of noise in the background. Real life, y'all. Hopefully this video, like my other budget challenges, will give you some ideas. It's a jumping off point. So if you need to make some adjustments according to your tastes and preferences, according to what you have on hand, or according to what you can budget, by all means do that. Today, I am going to make some lunch for myself and probably for my husband. We'll probably eat this for lunches a couple days this week. And I'm going to use an ingredient that, quite frankly, I forget about sometimes, but that I've been using more in my budget cooking, and that is gnocchi. This one actually came in my imperfect box, but I can get this for $1.88 for a regular standard size package, which is a little more than a pound, about 17 ounces. And I've even seen this at Dollar Tree for $1. If you're not familiar with gnocchi, they're like little potato dumplings. They cook really quickly. They're really filling. And I just think that they can kind of, give that satisfaction factor, that full tummy factor to a dish. And they're pretty inexpensive as a starch goes. And just something different from like your standard pasta or rice, the kind of starchy fillers that you would put in a budget meal. So I'm going to make a creamy gnocchi soup. This is a meatless dish. The original recipe that inspired me came from a plant-based website. So I'll leave it linked in the description box below. And she uses a plant-based butter and a plant-based milk to make this completely vegan. Since we are not eating vegan, I am going to go ahead and just use regular butter and regular milk for this, but she mentions how you can swap out some things to make this plant-based friendly. So if that's something that you need, be sure to check that out. There's just something for you if you are trying to eat plant-based. Here is what I'm using to make the gnocchi soup that I am making today, the vegetable gnocchi soup. I have a package of broccoli florets, and I've let these thaw a little bit so that they're not frozen. One package of potato gnocchi, which I've already showed you guys, 2 cups of milk. I'm going to use 3 cups of chicken broth. I've got about 2 stalks of celery and 4 sort of small-ish carrots that I've chopped up, plus half an onion, some garlic, which I will use my garlic press to mince, 4 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of flour, and I'm going to season this with a little bit of Italian seasoning, probably about 1 to 2 teaspoons, a pinch of red pepper flake, salt and pepper to taste. Like I said, I am not making this plant-based, but if you want some ideas for that, feel free to go visit the website I've linked in the description box with a similar recipe. Also, I am catching up on my friend Lauren's videos over at Louise Lane. She is a super talented designer too, and she's actually redesigning all of my channel art and my logos. So you'll be seeing new versions of those maybe by the time this video goes up. And she is the one who's behind all that because she's super talented. She also has a really fun YouTube channel called Louise Lane that I will leave linked in the description box below. So be sure to go and give her a view and tell her I sent you. So I have my onions, celery, and carrots in here sauteing in just a little bit of olive oil. This is my mirepoix, if you will. I love that word, even though I'm not very good with French. If you've watched my channel, you know that I was a vocal music teacher for 11 years in the classroom, and so I was a music major in college. And when you're a vocal major, you have to sing in lots of different languages, so you have to have language diction, and I was not good with French at all. I was great with Italian, I was great with Latin, with German, with Spanish, even with Castilian Spanish, but French was really a challenge for me, so much so that my voice teacher rarely gave me French pieces. So I'm sorry that I'm butchering this term probably, but the mirepoix is sauteing. I'm going to go ahead and press my garlic into this as well. I like to give the other veggies a head start. Garlic doesn't take as long to brown as like onions and other things, so I put it in after all that has been sauteing for a few minutes, and then I'll just let this brown for, I don't know, another probably 2 or 3 minutes before we move on. I'm gonna add my butter and let that melt. Turn my heat down just a tad. Now I'm just gonna sprinkle in my flour and stir that around. I'm gonna let the flour kind of cook with the veggies and the butter for a minute or so. Okay, now I'm adding my seasonings. Italian seasoning, a little salt and pepper, a little bit of crushed red pepper. You can leave that out if you don't like spicy. I also went ahead and put in my broth base for my chicken broth. I've got my broccoli. Still a little frozen, but I think it'll be fine. 2 cups of milk and 3 cups of water, or broth if you didn't use broth base. I'm just gonna give that a little stir. I'm gonna bring that up to a simmer, and I'm gonna let it simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes or so, just the veggies, before we add the gnocchi in. Okay, my has been simmering for about 12, maybe 15 minutes. I kind of wanted those broccoli to cook, and they were a little bit frozen when I put them in there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add my gnocchi, and I'm gonna let this come back up to a simmer, and I'm gonna let it simmer for about 5 minutes or so. It does not take gnocchi very long to cook, so I'm just gonna let these cook through and let it simmer for a little bit, and it's gonna be ready to eat. Yummy. Okay, here it is. This looks and smells fantastic. I cannot wait to try it. And I did try just a little bite of it in the pan just to make sure that it was seasoned the way that I went to, and the flavor is really, really good. So I'm ready to dive into the gnocchi and the vegetables. I topped mine with just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. That's optional. I think cheddar cheese would be good in this. I think it probably stands on its own as well. So yay, yummy. I am just sitting in my office at my desk doing a little work while I eat lunch, and I just had to come on here and let you guys know that this is fantastic. It's very good. It's very flavorful. It's very filling because of the gnocchi that's in it. So I highly recommend it. You can make it plant-based by subbing plant-based butter and milk, and also using vegetable broth instead of chicken broth. So go and try this. Really, really good. If you are watching this video, you probably care about saving money and getting the best bang for your buck. And saving money on food is one thing, but saving money on personal care items is quite another. So that's why I'm really excited to be partnering with Harry's to bring you today's video. I know that a lot of women and moms watch my channel, and maybe you have men in your life that you are shopping for where personal care items are concerned, just like I do. So if you don't know about Harry's, it's time you find out, because I think that they offer some really great products at fantastic prices that they can deliver right to your door. Harry's makes a high quality razor that comes with a durable weighted handle, and when you buy the replacement blades, they can be as low as just $2 per blade, which is a fantastic deal. But they're offering an even better deal to new customers today for my viewers. When you visit harrys.com/Mindy, you can get one of their starter kits, which includes one of their high quality razors, some of their foaming shaving gel with aloe, and a cover for the razor for when you travel for $3. All of that whole starter bundle for $3 when you visit harrys.com/Mindy. But while you're there, have a look around and see what else they have to offer, because I was pretty impressed, and I actually spent my own money purchasing some of these things from Harry's. I love that they offer some of their products, like their body washes and their shampoos, in a trial size. This is the little 2-ounce trial size, and I got these for just $3 a piece. This is the body wash in the stone scent. Ooh, that smells good. This smells really good. Ooh, yeah, I like that. But I'm most excited for my husband to try this out. It's their extra strength antiperspirant, and it has the same active ingredient in the same concentration as other clinical strength deodorants that I see in the grocery store. The ones that usually run $8, $10, $12, sometimes $15 for one stick. Harry's has it for $5. $5. You guys also know that I really like to work with and highlight companies that have a heart, and Harry's does donate a portion of their profits to entities that address mental health issues for men. This is such a need right now, and I am very pleased that they are doing something to provide awareness and to provide resources for companies that help men everywhere. So again, be sure that you visit the link in the description box, harrys.com/Mindy, to get your starter kit for just $3. And thanks again to Harry's for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. Today I am making Fideo, and this has been suggested by a few of you, and it's something that I'm kind of familiar with. I've been hesitant to make it because I think it's one of those things that people have very strong opinions about how you should make it. I know that it is very meaningful and personal to people, but I also think that it's one of those dishes, as I'm looking around at recipes, that can be made lots of different ways according to the way that people have learned to make it from family or according to the way that people just like it. One of the recipes I came across includes some potatoes, and it includes tomatoes, and it's more of like a, not a casserole, but like a pasta dish as opposed to a soup. I've sometimes heard it referred to as fideo con carne y papas, fideo with meat and potatoes. I've also heard it like down south in Texas called fideo loco. So if that's something you've heard of, maybe it will ring a bell. If not, maybe I can give you an idea with this recipe. Try something new. This is what I'm going to use today to make the Fideo dish that I kind of have in mind. I'm just using half a pound of ground beef. That's all I'm going to use today. 2 5-ounce packages of Fideo. This is the Q&Q brand. 1 can of petite diced tomatoes and 1 can of tomato sauce. I would use fresh tomatoes, but I don't have any, so I'm just going to use a can. I have about 1/4 of an onion chopped, so that's maybe about half a cup of chopped onion. A few garlic cloves, which I will press. This is 2 medium-ish potatoes that I peeled and chopped into cubes. You want them in cubes because you want them to cook pretty quickly. I'm going to use 2.5 cups of chicken broth, which I'm just going to make using 2.5 cups of water and then some of my broth base. You could use a bouillon cube. You could use chicken broth that comes in a can or a carton, or vegetable broth. You could just use water if you want. I think that would be fine too. This is just going to add a little bit more flavor. To season this, I'm using 1 teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, and cumin, and then salt and pepper to taste. I have my onions and my ground beef browning here in my pan together. And I'm also going to go ahead and press my garlic in here to brown with it as well. I just wanted to give the beef and the onion a little bit of a head start. My little meat chopper thing that I use when I brown ground beef is in the dishwasher. I just realized, so I have to use a regular old spatula. Oh no! Yummy, yummy garlic. Oh, it smells so good. Here it goes now. My ground beef, my onions, and my garlic are done browning. So I'm going to add my tomatoes, my tomato sauce, my potatoes, my seasonings, including my broth base, and 2.5 cups of water. I'm just gonna give that a stir, and I'm gonna let it come up to a simmer. Turn my heat up just a tad here. I have it on about medium heat so that I can bring it up to a simmer here. I wanna get those potatoes cooking. When I was thinking about how I wanted to make this dish and kind of researching, some different recipes and different ways that people make it, one of the things that kept coming up was that you should toast your vermicelli noodles. You should brown them in a skillet with a little bit of oil before you add them to your dish or at the beginning of making it, depending on how people are making it. So that is what I'm doing here. I just have my 2 boxes of Fideo here in my skillet with a couple tablespoons of oil. It's over low heat, and I'm just stirring those while they kind of toast and brown up, and I will add those to my pot after that. It also gives what's in my pot about a 10-minute head start, which is what I wanted, because I want the potatoes to cook a little bit before I add the pasta, because once I add the pasta, it should only take about 7 or 8 minutes to finish cooking. And then I'm just gonna pop the lid on it, and I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes before I serve it, and then it will be ready to serve. But that's what I'm doing now. Okay, I just tasted this, and this is absolutely fantastic. I think this is definitely gonna be in our repertoire for like quick, easy inexpensive meals, this is so good. And I imagine that you can adjust this according to what seasonings you like. You can maybe use some different ingredients, maybe even throw in some different kinds of vegetables in here. I know you can make it more soupy and like eat it as a soup. So this is so good, and used ingredients that I pretty much always have on hand. And now for something completely different. I am actually departing from my original plan just a tad. I had intended to make another family meal, but I decided instead that I wanted to make just a lunch for myself, an individual serving, just a recipe that feeds one person. So this is going to be kind of like a ramen noodle upgrade recipe, and I saw this idea on Pinterest, and I think maybe it originated on TikTok, so maybe you have seen it, but I'm kind of making some adjustments according to my own taste, so I'll show you how I'm making it. It's going to be super cheap. It's going to be like less than $1, like maybe around 75 cents or so for a portion for this lunch for myself, which I think is pretty good. Today I'm going to use 1 brick of ramen. I'm not going to use the seasoning packet. And I'm also going to add some frozen veggies to mine, and I will just cook these on the stove along with the ramen. I'll bring some water to a boil, and then I'll add the brick of ramen and the frozen veggies and let that cook for 3 to 4 minutes. For the sauce, I'm going to use a tablespoon of butter, a tablespoon of soy sauce, a teaspoon of brown sugar. I don't like my noodles as sweet. And I'm also going to add just a little bit of the starchy water from the ramen. I'm going to use about half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Fresh garlic would be better, but I'm out. I can't believe I'm out of garlic. That like never happens, but use fresh garlic if you have it. If not, just use a little bit of garlic powder to taste. I'm also going to add an egg at the end to cook alongside it. And I'm also going to use one of these little packets of crushed red pepper. I'm going to top this with a little bit of everything but the bagel seasoning. That is totally up to you. That's optional. This one's from Trader Joe's, but I am seeing this in generic brands in other stores. I've seen it at Aldi in their brand, and I think I've seen it at Walmart too. Are you guys seeing generic brands of this, you know, inexpensive brands of the everything but the bagel seasoning in your stores? Okay, I have to say, you guys, I had my doubts about this because it seemed like too simple. You know, it seemed too good to be true. Just like a brick of ramen, throw in a few veggies, an egg, just use some basic like staple seasonings and sauces that I already have. But I definitely think this takes it up a notch. That red pepper flake in there gives it a really good kick. And I think just adding the veggies and the egg makes it a little bit more satisfying as a meal. It's not soupy, you know, it's a little bit more like, almost like, you know, a fried ramen noodle, I guess, or so to speak. So it's not like soupy like I normally like my ramen noodles, but it's really satisfying and easy and quite frankly, cheap. I can get on board. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope it was helpful. Thank you again to Harry's for sponsoring this video, and be sure to visit the link in the description box, harrys.com/Mindy, so you can get their starter set for just $3. See you soon.